Welcome back, aliens. My name is Davin Reddy, and in this video we'll talk about one of the amazing features of Python, which is decorators. Now think about this. When you talk about functions, functions are built to perform certain tasks, right? So example, let's say we have this file, and in this file we have a function which is predefined. So let's get a function here, and this will be for division. Of course, you can write any complex code, but just to keep it simple, let's go for division. And of course, a division function takes two parameters. So we'll take a and b, and this will return the division of these two. So we'll say return a divided by b. Simple code, right? Of course, you can make it complex. You can go for complex code, but just to keep it simple, we got two lines, division, which divides two numbers. And then if you call this function, if you say, let's say if I pass 4,2, and if you run this code, of course you have to also print. Instead of returning here, let's print. So if you call this function now, let's right click and say run. You can see we got 2.0. This is what we wanted, right? We wanted the output. Okay, that's great. But what if I pass the value which is 2 and 4? So what are you expecting the output here? So the output which I'm expecting here is of course 0.5, because that's what you will get. And you can see we got 0.5. So what if I say I want a different logic here? The logic which I want is, doesn't matter in which sequence I pass the value, it should be always the numerator should be bigger than the denominator. So example, in this case, if I'm passing 2 and 4, it should be reversed while dividing. Only when my numerator is less than denominator, I want to swap them. Okay, so in this case, even if you are passing 2 and 4, the division should be 4 divided by 2. Okay, so we can do that, right? We can have our own logic. So just for the example, we are going for this. Okay, so what do you think what we have to do? So of course, as a user, I should be passing 4 and 2. But let's say as a user, I want to pass 2 and 4. It is your job, developer, to make sure that they are getting swapped. Okay, you will say, okay, it's my job, I will do it. So you will go to the existing code which is division, and you will say, okay, so before dividing those two numbers, I want to apply a logic. The logic is if a is less than b, I just want to swap them. And we know how to swap two numbers, right? We can simply say a comma b is equal to b comma a. Simple logic. And then once you have done that, if you run this code, you can see we got 2.0. It was so simple, right? But we got a twist. The twist is, as I mentioned, imagine this code, the division code which you have here, is not with you. This is in some other file and you are importing it. Maybe you don't have the access for this function, and maybe you don't want to change the code of the existing function. So I want you to swap those two values without touching the div function. Is it possible? And that's where decorators comes into picture. So what are decorators? So using decorators, you can add the extra features in the existing functions. I know that sounds weird, but we can do that. So just to explain that, what I will do is I will create a new function. Now this will be a decorator for div. So I will say, we'll call it as smart because it can change the code, right? So we'll say smart div. Now what this smart div will get? Now smart div will take div as the function or as the parameter. So let's pass the function here. So it will accept a function. Again, why we'll talk about that later. So this smart div will accept a function, and then, so if you want to change the logic, you have to write a code, right? I want to do that in another function. So we can write a function inside a function. That's the beauty of Python. So let's get a function here. So we'll say def. We can have any function name. Let's go for inner because the inner function. And then this inner function will take the same parameter which is taken by div. Two parameters, let's take a comma b. The name should not be same, but you can have any name, but the number of parameters should be same. So you're passing 2, you have to accept 2. Now in this inner, you can write the logic which you were trying to write in div. So which was if a is greater than b, in this case you will swap them. So swapping is a comma b is equal to b comma a. Just to remove these spaces there, let's do that. And that's okay, let me just have a space here. So you can see we are creating a smart function here, which has an inner function who is doing our job. So this is the code which I want inside my div. Now once you have done that, you simply have to return. So you have to return the function which you are accepting here. Basically, you are actually calling div here. So in the return, you will pass that two values a and b, the new values. So the original values were 2 and 4. After swapping, you are passing 4 and 2. So you are calling a function by passing these two values. Now this function is your div function, but you will be thinking how they are matching. Just give me some time. And then after this, you just have to return the in a function because that's the function which is actually doing the job for you. Okay, but will this work? Let's try. Let's run this code, and you can see you're still getting 0.5 is because there's no connection between this smart div and this div. Let's create that connection. So what we can do is, before calling the new div function, we can say div is equal to, let's make it smart. So we can assign the function to a function because everything in Python is an object, right? So we can say div is equal to smart div, in which you will be passing the div function. Now this div function is the original function you have, and this is a new one. In fact, just to give you an idea, I'll make this as div1, and let me call that function div1 by passing 2 and 4. So basically we are calling div but indirectly. Okay, so we are calling div1, which is using the smart div function by passing the values. It will swap the values inbuilt, and then it will actually call the div function at the end, which will reprint the values. Let's run this code, and you can see we got the output which is wrong. That's weird. Okay, I guess there's something wrong with the if condition, my bad. So errors. Okay, so as a programmer, you always make mistakes, right? So you can see it should be less than, right? That's where you want to swap. So if you run this code now, oh, we got 2. That's what we wanted, right? In fact, the amazing thing is you don't have to go for a new name. You can actually replace with the original name itself, which is div. So it looks like we are calling this div function, but no. Just before calling them, we are changing the definition for div, right? So this is the old div. We are making a new div now. So you can see we got 2.0. The amazing part about decorators is you can change the behavior of the existing function, okay, at the compile time itself. So that's the decorators for you. So just to recap, what we are doing is we are creating a new function which takes function as a parameter, and that's the beauty that this is not possible in all the languages. So yes, we can do that in Python because Python is also a functional programming. And then we can define a function inside a function which is actually replacing the code of div behind the scene. And then before calling div, we are saying div is equal to smart div, and we are passing div. So basically we are changing the way div works. So that's how you can use decorators in Python. I hope you got something about decorators in this video. So I hope you are enjoying this series. Let me know in the comment section, and do subscribe for further videos.